Hi everyone, welcome back to the Izzy and Alex show. It has been a long while since we've done an episode. Life got very busy and so we're back and we're better than ever, but we've also got a very special guest with us today. We're joined by Holly Gibbs. Now you may have seen her on back in the day on Tracy Beaker and on big blockbuster films like Nanny Mcphee. So we're going to be chatting to her today, but welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So I guess we'll just kind of start in the beginning, really. Like, how did you get into acting?
Well, since I was really little, I always loved performing from a very young age. And when I was probably about 5, I joined a local drama group. And it just so happened that that drama group had an agency attached to it. So I became one of their clients and I all of a sudden had an agent. But I just, from really little, I loved performing. I was very loud and quite precocious. And I think it was just a way for me to channel all of it. I come from quite a theatrical family. A lot of my family are in that kind of world or in that industry. My mum was an actress when she was younger, so I think it was quite natural for me. And when I was little, I did a couple of things, like professional work wise. My mum was very nice and she got me a casting and I got a Play-Doh commercial, and that was the first thing I ever did. I did have to audition. She didn't just give me the job and they didn't know I was her daughter. But I did a Play-Doh commercial, and then Nanny Mcphee was the first proper job I got, and I was 6. And the way that that job came about was quite unconventional. I had an agent at the time, but the agent that I was assigned to didn't think that I was right for Nanny McPhee, so she didn't want to suggest me for the job. But my mum had a friend at another kids agency who had heard about Nanny McPhee and said Holly would be perfect for it. So she suggested me for the job, which was a bit sneaky and not really allowed. But I had a first audition, and the first audition was hundreds of kids in a room. We were all told to improvise. It was like very free and light, but I think they liked me. So I got invited back, and I ended up having about 6 or 7 auditions, and then I got the job. And that was my first professional job, which was crazy. And it all kind of unfolded from there, really.
I mean, talk about a first job.
I know.
There's worse. I mean, mine was Primark, but yours is a step above. So talking about Nanny McPhee, what was it like on set? I mean, just like looking at some of the cast now, Emma Thompson, Colin Firth, what was it like to work with those like legends? And is there any gossip from the set that you can sort of tell us?
Well, overall, it was just the most magical experience. Obviously, it was a huge film, so they had a big budget, which makes things really nice. And we shot at a few places. We shot at Pinewood Studios, and I don't know if I've got this completely right, but I think that they built the house. There was a house, and we'd film in the house. So we kind of moved between, but we were so well looked after. They had like a drinks van, especially for the kids. The food was amazing. The costumes were amazing. And it was just like a bit of a playground. And for me, when I was that young, obviously I knew who Colin Firth and Emma Thompson were. But I don't think it really clicked as much when I was 6 years old. But honestly, and I think feel like people get really bored when people say this, but everyone was just so nice. They were so great to work with, especially having that many kids on a set. It was a lot. We were very high energy, but everyone was so patient. And I think it was just like to have a first experience like that in the industry. Nothing ever really lived up to it. Again, to be honest, it was so unique and special. We filmed for 14 weeks, which was like we all got really close as a sort of family, and being able to build those connections with the kids and the cast. Gossip wise, I don't know. There's not really much tea. I was so young.
Yeah. Okay. I guess you were 6. Like you weren't going like, oh, this scandal.
No, there was no scandals. It was like the most beautiful experience, and I still remember all of it, which is amazing.
Do you have like a standout scene in particular from doing that film where you thought actually that was
I
like
have a few. There's one scene where I am holding on to Colin Firth's leg, and he's trying to leave the room, and I'm trying to get him not to go.
Oh yeah.
And I'm being like dragged along the floor. But for Nanny McPhee, all of the kids had these matching shoes, and they were kind of like old school boots. And before the film, I had to wear them to school to wear them in because they wanted them to look worn, like, and not that they were brand new. So I remember having to wear these shoes to school, being really embarrassed because they were really ugly. and all my friends had like kickers on and I was in these boots, but the boots were really uncomfortable. And in that scene when he was dragging me along the floor, I got blisters all over my feet from these shoes just like scraping on the floor. So I remember that. But I think the biggest scene that I don't think anyone would ever forget filming was the food fight scene. It was crazy. It went on for like 3 days. And it was so smart. They had to obviously, you know, because of continuity, especially with someone like Angela Lansbury, who ends up with that big pie all over her face. There was a lot of makeup and attention to detail. And parts of it, they put up a plastic screen with the camera behind it so people would throw the food at the screen. But it went on for ages. But it was so much fun. We all just got to throw food around for 3 days. It was amazing.
That's amazing.
Love it.
I literally love that film. Like, I literally remember like going to see that in the cinema and crying after. I don't know what, it's not really a sad film.
It's emotional. It is quite emotional at the end.
Emotional.
At the end. Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah,
Like
I agree. I think it's emotional. But yeah, it feels so special to be in a film like that. I feel really lucky because I think it, you know, they still play it every Christmas. If you bring it up to anyone, they all know what it is. And, you know, the amount of parents I've met who have said, oh, my children love that film. It's like, it's really nice to be part of something that's like a staple. I feel, you know, really lucky to have been able to be in it.
Yeah. So in terms of Tracy Beaker, which we both grew up watching religiously and absolutely love it. So you played Millie, who was quite an interesting character, wasn't she? Because she was kind of known as the one that was quite shy, didn't really like, she was known for not really speaking, and she had a brother called Marco. So what were like your standout moments from playing that character? And was it different playing a character that was quite like that, or is she quite similar to how you are? Because she is very, out of all like the children in that series, she's quite interesting.
Yeah, she's definitely nothing like I am. I was so loud, you couldn't stop me talking when I was younger. It was nothing like me. But she had what's called selective mutism. And obviously I was very young and I had to kind of figure out, you know, what that was and what it meant. So it was just, you know, something that my character had where she didn't speak. And for me, obviously I'd never played a part with no words before. It was very interesting. And I think it allowed me to just have a bit of a different experience at such a young age. I think that now a lot of people are like, oh, you didn't have any lines, and it's all a bit funny, and you know, but I think for me, even when I was really young, it let me just play with things like expression for the first time and trying to figure out how you act without words. And at such a young age, it's a really cool experience to be able to do that. But I think the standout moments for me from Tracy Beaker was when I got to talk. I just couldn't wait. The few lines I had, I loved it. I was like, it's my day. Exactly. So I loved it. But I think the whole filming experience again was really unique. Tracy Beaker films in Cardiff, and I'm from London, so I was living in Cardiff for, you know, weeks at a time, and I would come home on weekends, and I was living with a chaperone, and I was only 7, and I was really homesick, and I found it really difficult being away from my family. But I think it, you know, was a learning experience. All the kids were really cool, everyone was really nice. Again, there's like so many children on set. I think people forget that a lot of child actors usually don't have that many other children on set. All the other jobs I did, I was the only child, and you just be around adults, which is great because you learn how to be around older people at an early age. It helps you a lot. But I think being around that many kids is just always so much fun because it's just like you've got loads of friends on set.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
Lovely. And actually, going on from that, I've been watching your YouTube series from early, been loving it.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it, honestly. And obviously we saw Jack that plays Marco on that. So I was just wondering, do you still speak to any of the cast from Tracy Beaker?
Well, I have a few of them on like Instagram and stuff, but never really like that much. But when I thought of from early, the idea for people who haven't watched it is I sit down with people who also started like creative careers really young, and the first person I thought of was Jack, because obviously we had such an amazing on-screen relationship and people love him, and we reconnected, and now, you know, we speak every now and again, which is nice. But no, I think the nice thing is, you know, everyone goes off and lives different lives, but it's amazing when you reconnect with someone or someone follows you or you have a little message here and there because you did something really beautiful together, which is great.
Yeah. So when Tracy Beaker ended and then it went on to Tracy Beaker Returns and they had a whole new cast and everything, we didn't really find out what happened to like a lot of the children that
Yeah.
were in the original series. After we kind of saw like bits of their end, like some of them went into got fostered and everything. So more of a creative question, really. Like if you could choose kind of what would happen to Millie and Marco post the show ending in terms of like their story, what would you have wanted?
We actually spoke about this, me and Jack. Yeah, we spoke about this and we said, oh, what do you think would have happened? I think, because obviously they ended up getting fostered together. I feel like they just would have been a dynamic duo and gone on to like maybe go to uni together. I feel like they would have lived together and been that kind of inseparable best friend pair. We said maybe they would have had like a vintage clothes shop or something because they both love dressing up, or done something in fashion or design or costume. I think that they just sort of gone off and had like a really fun time together, and I feel like their connection would have just stayed the same.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely something fancy dress. It would have to be.
I think so. maybe like kids entertainers or something like that.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would be so fun. That would be so fun. So obviously you were amazing on like Nanny Mcphee, Tracy Beaker, but you're also killing like the social media game now. I see you on TikTok, your YouTube. I'm loving it. So yeah, I just want to know a bit more about that. Like, how has life treated you after Tracy Beaker?
Well, after Tracy Beaker, people think I just kind of stopped. I did do quite a lot of other work. I carried on acting for a while throughout school, but obviously big jobs are not that frequent when you're young. It's really hard. It's very competitive. Every child wants to do it. And I think for me personally, as I grew up, I just had other interests. So I did quite a lot of, you know, like more adult TV programs. I did a play at the National Theatre. I did a lot of short films and things. But when I got to sort of sixth form, I fell in love with art, and I decided that I wanted to go to art school. So I went to St Martin's and I did an art degree, and I kind of just put acting to the side. And I said, you know, if I wanted to come back to it, I would. And I did uni for 4 years and decided this is what I want to do. I want to be an artist. And then I left. And then I decided I didn't want to be an artist anymore. And it's just been a bit of a journey. But I think the reason that I got on TikTok initially was just for a bit of fun. Obviously, it was lockdown. Everyone was using it. And I did a few videos and I did one and it just went crazy. And then I was really surprised when I started getting all these comments of people saying, oh, what was it like? Or asking me questions about my experiences. I didn't really think that anyone would care. But apparently they do, which is so nice. And I still can't really believe it. So I just kept making videos. And then the idea for the YouTube came to me. I'm really interested in presenting, and that's something that I'm kind of more moving towards, and making my own content. And I also writing my own stuff. So the YouTube is just the beginning of some big things that I hopefully will see through in time. We'll see.
Oh, that's so cool though. And so yeah, it's so cool that we have social media, so people that they can use that platform to grow even more, especially as like an actress. It's plays such a huge well,
it's just such a competitive industry. And I think growing up with my mum being a casting director, and you know, having that kind of back seat view on what the industry is really like, I think my advice to people would be just to do things for yourself. It's really hard to make it in, you know, the terms that people would like to talk about. And I think that if you have an idea, there's no harm. You know, the internet is amazing for being creative and putting things out there that aren't there yet. And, you know, I really do believe that there's sort of an audience for everyone. I never thought that, you know, I was going to get any sort of following on TikTok. I just did it, you know, for fun. And now I have people that are interested, which is so cool.
And I think that's a really important point, actually, because we had Johnny, Joe, who played Johnny from Tracy Beaker Returns on a couple of months ago, and he was saying the same thing, sort of, that you sort of think that your life is sorted after like you land the big roles, and actually
no.
And you kind of do have to create like a creative route. So yeah, so that's really interesting that you sort of put, because he's gone on to do law now, and obviously you went to do art. So yeah, it's good that, like, you know, have things to fall back on, but also do things that are creative. And he's also quite big on TikTok actually as well. So yeah, I find that correlation quite interesting.
I think also when you're in something as a child, I can't speak for everyone, but for me there was just an itch that I wanted to try other things, and I loved acting, but I also loved art, and I didn't just want to go down one avenue. It wasn't like that up until sixth form. Acting was all I wanted to do. I was going to go to drama school. I was really like, I wanted to leave school. I wanted to just leave and try and work. And then I decided that wasn't for me. And I do think that if you get into something at a really early age, it's important to try and explore other things, because you just don't know. I don't think that if I'd not had this journey, I would have done this YouTube show or made a TikTok. You just don't know. Like, I think it's important to like be open to all avenues and not be just like tunnel vision on one thing all the time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So another thing we wanted to talk about, so you won Best Young Actress in a short film.
I did.
What was that?
We've done our research.
You really did. You've been on the Wikipedia. I love it. I feel like I'm on like Jimmy Fallon or something. It's great. That was a long time ago. I did a short film called When the Rain Comes with an amazing actress called Dervla Kerwin, and it was a two-hander, so it was just me and her, and it was a story about a mum and a daughter, and the mum suspects that her husband is cheating on her, so we go on this kind of wild goose chase around London trying to find this cheating husband. It's all a bit crazy, but the film got submitted to a festival and I won an award, which is amazing. And I think it was in Brighton. There was an award ceremony and I got up on the stage and I got to make a speech. It was really cool. It was like a really fun project. It was really small and very independent. But yeah, it was amazing being able to have an award. I couldn't believe it.
So cool, honestly. And I guess just to finish off now, obviously we've spoken about your YouTube, your TikTok. Is there any up and coming projects that you can share with us, or will you have to be a bit secretive?
No, I definitely have more episodes of From Early coming. I've taken a bit of a hiatus, but they're coming back. And other things, I do have an agent again. I'm auditioning again, but I have to be real, it's not easy. I think another misconception is that if you've done big things as a child, then you're immediately seen for whatever you want to be seen for. That's so not the case. If anything, sometimes it can work against you because people just remember you as being that kid in Nanny Mcphee and they don't really see you for what you are now. But yeah, it's a hard industry to be in for anyone, I think, unless you've like been in Stranger Things and you're Millie Bobby Brown. I'm sure that she's fine, but it's not easy. So I don't like to pretend, and I think people often comment like, oh, why haven't you been in a big film yet? I mean, if I could, I would, but hopefully it will come. I'm auditioning and I'm putting the work in, and we'll just see where it goes.
Definitely, you got to manifest it. Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's all about the manifestation.
100% positive energy. I'm just putting it out there. What do they say? What I want will come to me. What I don't chase, all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So that would be your like top advice then for, because there's so, as you say, there's so many young actors out there that are trying so hard to get that first like big break, and it's, as you say, it's so difficult. So that would be your
I think there's a lot of advice. I think I would say make sure that you really want it. It's not easy. That's not to say that anyone should give up, but if there are other things, have a side hustle, have something you can do on the side. It's really important. Even people who get a huge part, it doesn't guarantee lifetime success. It doesn't guarantee anything. Same with a lot of other industries. I think you have to have fingers in a lot of pies and things that you're good at. And I think, again, it's like if you can create stuff for yourself, even if it doesn't lead to a humongous opportunity, just putting things out there. I think also I get a lot of comments of people who are just starting and they feel very lost. It's not easy to get an agent. I know that. I think things like joining a drama club, finding workshops, there's loads of like free or cheap Zoom workshops now with casting directors. There's a company called Run At It Shouting that I would recommend that hosts loads of online workshops with casting directors and people in the industry. And I think getting a community around you of people who are into the same thing. If you're at school, join your drama club, do your school plays. And if you want to find work, there are things like mandy.com, other websites where it's unpaid, which is unfortunate, but just to get yourself in front of a camera and build up your show reel, it takes a lot of tenacity. It's difficult, but if you really want it, I think that, people can go for it and try their best.
Honestly, thank you so much for coming
it's my
today.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's been amazing. So insightful. Honestly, I thought we'd come to chat. Inspired. Very inspired.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank
100%.
you. I'm so happy I came. You're so lovely. And I hope you keep getting loads more guests and that, you know, this just becomes like the #1 show in the world. We're manifesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, honestly, and I hope that all the best for your career as well.
Oh, thank
I
you.
can see you. I don't know. Maybe if acting don't work out, maybe some reality TV, Love Island's on. You know?
People keep saying this to me. I've had like 7 people in the last week tell me to go on Love Island, and I don't know why. I have nothing against people that go on Love Island. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It's not for me. I couldn't put myself out there on reality TV like that. You know, I'm too self-conscious. There's no way. But I think presenting is a nice segue. I think I think that will work for me.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you. You've been amazing.
Thank you.
Make sure to tune in, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on our next video.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.